Good morning, African American Studies family. This is Professor Jihad. This is week 6. Welcome to week 6. I know I said this on the syllabus. It says you'll have the midterm exam this week. No, I apologize. The midterm exam is next week. It's running a little bit late because I really wanted to get you guys uh, to understand how the African American Studies discipline started and how it developed. We've talked a little about Carter G. Woodson and the miseducation of the Negro. We've talked a little about Booker T. Washington and W.B. Du Bois. Well, and all of them were very instrumental in starting this movement. They didn't even realize it because when Carter G. Woodson broke down in 1896, it's all about education, right? And it's the way that we're being educated and the way we're being taught. That is the reason that the African American Studies the Black student movement for African American Studies started, because the student realized that Carter G. Woodson was right when in 1865, when the Freedmen's Bureau opened up 1,000 schools for blacks, and Dr. Woodson in his book The Miseducation of the Negro, the very first chapter was called "The Seed of the Trouble." He said the freedmen had the enthusiasm, but if only they had the knowledge. If only they had the knowledge. Now, what do you guys think that means? I'll tell you. What it meant was 1865 was the year that public schools started for blacks. The Freedmen's Bureau, as you know, was a bureau of abolitionists, people that were against enslavement, African Americans, white and black people, and generally a lot of them from the North. The government funded these schools. Now understand, why do you think the United States government would fund schools for blacks right on the eve after enslavement, right after enslavement was abolished? Why? Do you think it was really to make you free? Think about it. Do you think it was to help emancipate? Do you think it was to help educate people? Really educate black folks? Think about it now. Think about who these people are, who controls these systems. Now imagine this, you know how we send, and I think I talked about this, you know how we talk about we want to send our children to good schools, and good schools have better technology, so-called better teachers, so-called better this, better that. Well, let's go back, 1865, when Carter G. Woodson said they had the enthusiasm with the knowledge, but not the knowledge. What he meant was they had the enthusiasm to educate blacks, to educate people. Now, that's the enthusiasm, but the knowledge, the understanding was, how are you going to educate people, teaching them the same systems that promote white superiority and black inferiority? You're going to actually, so they opened 1,000 schools that have a pedagogy where has instilled in the minds of black folks that we have added nothing to human history, no respectful commentary to human history. We have not done anything but be victims, African American victims, and slaves, which we know we were never slaves. The slave was a noun. Remember what I told you guys. We couldn't be slaves because we're human beings. We were never slaves. We're human beings that were enslaved. That's the verb form. We were the verb form. We were not the noun form, because that means you were born into that condition. But we were human beings that were enslaved in the harshest time during human history, 246 years. Not only did African Americans survive, in essence, we thrived. We thrived in community, and we survived together. Nobody did it as an individual. It was together. Our revolutions were together. And then what is not taught in the school systems is our successful revolutions. And I gave you guys a little taste when I asked you to look up Martin Delany, Mariah Stewart, Queen Anne, Toussaint L'Ouverture, Paul Robeson, Robert Smalls. There's several, I can go on Arthur. There's so many people, so many blacks during enslavement who rose up not individual, but rose the communities of blacks up, the Muslim communities of blacks up all around this country and all around the Caribbean islands. But it was one person who helped the people rise up through education and understanding that those guns can't stop me because I got faith and I know who I am and I know that I'm supposed to be here. I know that I'm worthy of being here. Every single successful mini revolution during our enslavement, we overcame the obstacles primarily because of community and because of faith. That faith whooped them guns. Toussaint L'Ouverture defeated the strongest military at the time, naval military at the time, which was Napoleon's army. You think they did it because they had superior weaponry? No. You think they did it because they had superior numbers? No. They were outnumbered so much by the white folks come. They were technologically not ready to fight. But they had the heart and faith so strong that you cannot beat them. They won. And there was several others who won. Queen Anne and the Windward Moors, they won. We won the Bambara. We won in New Amsterdam, which was actually New York. Which was New York. We won so many insurgencies. We won so many, but these are not taught during enslavement. Why? Because it will give African Americans more of a sense of self, more of a sense of understanding how we exercise all 7 of the Nguzo Saba principles. You know, from Umoja to Amani. And you know what they are. So this week we're talking about the introduction and development of African American studies as a discipline in a 4-year college. Now, technically, this article is wrong because it was not the first African American studies program that was instituted that it says in your chapter 2, but I'm gonna let you go by it. But it's the first one by a 4-year institution, and which was at San Francisco State. But it's much more than that. I want you guys to read it so you can get an idea and understand, basically from this text, who were trying to prevent black students from establishing an African American study discipline. Everyone from the CIA to the colleges themselves. But I want you guys to read it. I want you to see how we came together. How we came together with a social ideology that says, no, we are not going to keep going to your college. We're going to demand. We're going to go to your college, but we're going to demand that you teach us from our standpoint, from our historical, cultural standpoint in history. And white folks got on the bandwagon too, because it's a travesty when you're teaching white folks that they're superior and white folks that they've done these things that they haven't done. When I think about it, you guys, I keep talking about this all the time. Whenever you teach in the middle of history, you'll never get the truth. Because, matter of fact, when you teach at 75% after history has been established, that's where history starts off. Where history starts off, usually, world history starts off usually about 2,000 years ago, when this man, so-called named Jesus, had walked this earth. But they don't teach you about thousands of years before, when this man, Heru, walked this earth. Heru, H-E-R-U, Heru. Look it up. Heru, the first, the oldest written and known Immaculate Conception, African, by Al-Sen Nassar. Or when I say, now excuse me, when I say they, don't, let me reference the they one more time. The they is the people who control the systems in this country. The people who control the systems in this country are usually around the 3% that are in power, that help instill all the institutional hate, institutional racism, institutional culturalism, all the isms that we go by. These are the big, and then you have also the politicians who do their bidding. You understand me? Because it's a shame that in 2019, and this is about to come into this damn day tomorrow, that we still have this national holiday holiday in this country called Christopher Columbus Day. Christoph Columbus ain't discovered nothing. Christopher Columbus was one of the first major destroyers of human life on the Western Hemisphere. You dig? And it's a travesty that you put this man up. It's a travesty that you put any of these. It's a travesty that you teach about any of these founding fathers. If you're going to take Dr. Bill, listen to me now, and I'll say it, if you're going to take Dr. Bill Cosby out, if you're going to take this man called R. Kelly out and delete him from the annals of music history and everything, well, if you're going to take Dr. Bill Cosby out of the annals of history for what he's done in education and for what he's done in the media, well, you need to take the founding fathers out of history because all of them were rapists, murderers, killers, kidnappers, and enslavers. Way worse than the R. Kellys and the Bill Cosbys of the world. Take them out of the social commentary and the historical commentary of history. Teach about a different America. Teach about America where indigenous people thrived in this land before Europeans came over and tried to destroy the indigenous people and give them disease and stuff like that. Because you have to teach the horrors of a society for that society can begin to heal. And this society white folks need to heal, man. White folks are sick, baby. I'm saying the systematic white folks, not every white folk in America, but I'm talking about the system of whiteness needs to heal. The system of whiteness is sick. It is disease. It is a virus. It has been causing hate, dissension all over the world. And one reason because you have this idea that everything started when the white man got here. Everything was invented by white folks. It was not. Especially the disciplines in education was not. You have the oldest standing university right now, the University of Singapore in Timbuktu, which is Mali, West Africa. Still standing. Been there since 1140 AD, which is about 400 years before modern day chattel enslavement started. So we need to teach the truth. And to get a little bit of the truth, I want y'all to get in this chapter 2. And chapter 2 is under content. Should be right. It'll be right above the. Probably right below the text. Because what I did is I scanned chapter 2, and you guys have 10 questions to answer after chapter 2. It's about 18 pages. The text is. The first question, and I want you to understand this, you guys. All the questions are not. This is a college class. I don't ever want you to answer a question no, yes, or one word answer. You answer the questions in an essay form. First question is, what were the fundamental social and educational concerns of black students that led them to protest the status quo and petition for the development of African American studies during the 1960s? Explain this. Talk this out. Explain this to me. Now, I've not given you a whole lot of work in this class. This right here is serious. I really want you to read it. I really want you to understand this. And your questions will be graded according to not how much you put on paper as an answer, but how well you explain your answer. Do you dot all your I's and cross your T's? Second question, what did so many white students advocate? Why did so many white students advocate and support the move to establish black studies programs at predominantly white colleges and universities? That's a very important question, you guys. Relate the educational rationale for African American studies to the political and economic objectives of the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s. So these are good questions that you guys have to answer. Now, when you get down to question number 7, which you guys know, it says, give me an analysis and evaluation of Nathan Hare's black consciousness and community orientation, Maulana Karenga's Kawada theory, and Molefi Asante's Afrocentricity programs or approaches to African American studies. Now, the key to Kawada theory, you'll see, was what I've been teaching you in Nguzo Saba. You know, a whole different idea of understanding the social context, the social social communalistic commandments that we should all live by. All right? And this is not going to be long. I'm going to stop this video right now because I want you guys to get into the work. I want you guys to understand the importance of our culture. The importance of our culture is part of American culture. Because as I said for all my white students, you was black before you was white. This is why I teach black excellence. It's a travesty that you think that these are your forefathers that did all this stuff. Your forefathers ain't done none of this. It's your great forefathers, the ones that look like me or darker than me. This is what they established. They established all of your disciplines, all your modern from mathematics to science to biology to chemistry. And you had one man who was responsible for a lot of it, which was Emotep. You know, it wasn't Hippocrates, it wasn't Socrates, it wasn't all these T's. You know, it was a tep or something like a tep, but not a T. You know, what I mean is that you had African existence. People of African culture had civilizations 10,000 years, over 10,000 years before the white civilization, before the first European white civilization even showed up. Thank you very much. Peace out. Y'all guys have a good week. Don't forget. Now, chapter 2, under content at the very bottom, I downloaded all the pages for you guys. The questions at the end of that chapter is 10 questions. Answer the question distinctly. Thank you very much. Peace. You guys have a great week. And remember, and also, next Sunday, the midterm will begin. All right. Thank you. Bye.